So the average YouTube fitness enjoyer has become very, very numbers focused. How many sets should I do? How many reps should I do? What percentage incline should I do my incline dumbbell curls at? How long should I rest between sets? How long should I go on the way down in terms of tempo? How much range of motion should I use? Everything seems to be needed to be quantified and measured and managed. But I can tell you that what separates those who get results from those who do not is not necessarily always the numbers. There are some things that are not quantifiable, and those things are often the most important of all. And I'm not saying that the numbers or any of these other factors are not important. They are important. Progressive overload, it is not a suggestion. It is something that you need to be doing over time. But it is certainly not the only thing that you should be focusing on. And a lot of people, they know a lot of things about training. They have a lot of pieces of information floating around in their head. They can reference a lot of studies. They can say, oh, this group did better than this group, but they don't necessarily get results despite having so much information floating around in their noggins. Here's why. First, you can't measure the passion, the aggression, the motivation, the inspiration, the perspiration, the perspicacity, the audacity and capacity to give a shit. Simply put, those who care about lifting and about getting better seem to get better. Now, this might sound obvious, but it's not really talked about very much. If I talk to a whole bunch of advanced natural lifters, they cared. They really, really cared. It was something that they were hyper obsessed with it. They were focused on it. They were thinking about it sometimes all day. They were looking forward to their session all day. It was not something that they had to drag themselves to. It was something that automatically compelled them to go and to try to get better every single time. A lot of people in the gym, I would argue most, they just don't have that. And often they're focusing on things that are nowhere near as important as just giving a shit. And I realize that sounds condescending. I don't care. Because a lot of people, they have goals up here, but their level of commitment, of discipline, of dedication, of showing up, of wanting to do better are nowhere near where it needs to be in order to get the results that they want. If your attention to the process is not commiserate with what it needs to be, you're not going to get where you want to go. All the best lifters I've talked to, they knew a lot about lifting and they were immersed in the culture. They were thinking, tinkering with their program. Is it the fact that they tinkered with their program, or was it more that they were the type of person who cared so much that they were willing to think about it and change things and be observant and see, okay, this works, this doesn't seem to work, I'm going to keep the thing that works. A lot of people, they're blindly following the same program for years and years and years, not seeing the results that they want, or they're program hopping, just blindly trusting in some people on the internet saying that, hey, this is going to work for you, this is the best thing because I made it or because this company is paying me to do it, okay? Any program you do online, by the way, even my programs at Boostcamp, you still have to be observant. It doesn't take the reins from you, it gives you more reins to guide the horse better, but that doesn't mean you can just close your eyes and expect to get where you want to go. All the guys who made it, they have that in common. Reading, talking, watching YouTube videos, learning, that yearning, that burning and sometimes concerning desire to get better and keep earning those gains and not remain the same. That hunger. Nothing rhymes with hunger. By the way, this video is sponsored by Boostcamp. So, the numbers, they're still important, and you should still be logging and tracking and occasionally checking your program. Intuitive training and just going in there and going totally by feel, it will only get you so far. Every high-level natural lifter that I've talked to, they keep a training log. And if you're going to keep a training log, which you should, you might as well use the best. Plus, you get access to some of the best hypertrophy and other focus programs out there. If you're not sure what to do, hop on a fixed plan, maybe tweak and tinker it as you go. So thank you to Boostcamp for sponsoring this video. Oh, and you can use code GVS for 2 free weeks of premium. And this obsession can absolutely go too far. And a lot of lifters that I've talked to, yeah, they're doing twice a day training. They were doing way too much volume. They were pushing things way too hard. They were sacrificing other areas of their life. But if you really want the best possible results for yourself and it's actually important to you, I would much rather have you have an excess of enthusiasm rather than have it be something that you have to build up later, because it's a lot more difficult to do that. Number 2, effort. Now, you could say that effort and RIR are the same. I don't think they're exactly the same, because I do see some people say that they train close to failure, but I don't think they're putting in a very, very quality effort. Now, you can look at someone's face, you can say, they're really pushing hard. That is a decent indicator, but I think there are some people who are kind of like faking it. It's the pageantry around hard training where we're filming a supplement ad, we're pushing really hard. But you look at the bar speed, you look at the rep speed. That doesn't lie. If you see someone and they're doing a set and they're like, yeah, this is a hard set, 0 reps in reserve, and there's no slowing at all, I don't care if they're making noise, I don't care if they're puking in a trash can, I don't care what they're doing, if you're not seeing that slowing, it's just not near failure. Some exercises are a little bit different. You won't see as much slowing, but you will always see some. And if you don't see that at all, guess what? Your effort is just not where you think it is. And most people, they think they train harder than they actually do. I pretty regularly get DMs from people who say that, hey, I thought I was training hard, and then I saw one of your sets and I realized what I thought was failure or close to failure was actually 3, 4, 5, 6 or more reps in reserve. And so, yeah, it's difficult to go there. Yeah, it's not easy, but it's also really, really important. And it's something that is, I know I just tossed out some numbers, but it is not always quantifiable. What's that quote? I know it when I see it. It's not something you can say, okay, this guy's 2 reps in reserve, this guy's 5, that guy's 6.3. No, you don't know exactly how many you or someone else has in the tank, but you also know when it's a genuine quality effort, at least if you've done it a lot of different times. And so when I hear a beginner say, yeah, I train super hard, and then I see their set and nothing slows down, it might feel difficult. It might feel challenging, but in a few years, you will look back on that and say, okay, yeah, actually, I thought it was hard in the moment because I didn't really know any better, but now if I took my brain and I went back and I put it in my body, yeah, I could have gotten more reps. And that matters more than almost anything. You see people where their program is not very good, maybe they're not even super consistent, their exercise selection doesn't really make a lot of sense, even their execution leaves a lot to be desired, but they still make progress. A lot of that is explained by effort. And if you have the perfect program, if you have the perfect set and rep scheme, you have all the PubMed links at the bottom of your training plan, but you don't put in a heaping helping of effort, you're probably going to be disappointed with your results. It is that important. Even if it is not quantifiable, that doesn't matter. It's still important. Number 3, feeling. And again, you can't quantify this. It's not something that you're going to be able to have, this was a 7.3 feeling contraction, this was a 7.8. I suppose you could try, but it's something that you have to internalize rather than try to write on a spreadsheet. So whether it's doing a new movement and being able to feel the muscle working that you want to work, or it's getting a big stretch or a big contraction, or feeling smooth when you're doing the movement, or making sure that you're keeping tension on the muscle that you're trying to target, I do think that these things have value. I've certainly poo-pooed on the mind-muscle connection, and I think if you are sacrificing other training variables in order to emphasize or overemphasize the mind-muscle connection, I think that can be to your detriment, but it is certainly a thing, and your technique does matter in terms of your results. So it's not just taking something to failure in terms of a movement, it's not just giving a shit, it's how your body is moving when you are doing that exercise. And I often ask people that I coach, how did it feel? And sometimes I get sort of perplexing responses. Oh, I did 6 reps. Yes, I know. I'm not asking how many reps. How did it feel? Oh, I used a 30-degree incline because this study said that this was better than the 45-degree and this is optimal. Okay, that's interesting, but how did it feel? When you were doing the movement, did it feel good? Did it feel bad? Was there any kind of tightness? Did you get any kind of pain? Did you feel a full range of motion? Did you feel the muscles working that were supposed to be working during the movement? And a lot of people don't really have this skill of even assessing a movement and knowing if it is right for them or not. And so they know, again, all these pieces of information. Oh, I should do 8 sets because this study said this. Okay, that's not nearly as important as being able to go into the gym and assess things for yourself in the moment and improve that over time. So how you feel when you are exercising is certainly very, very important, even if it's not quantifiable. And we like certainty. We like to be told, hey, this is the best for this. Yeah, just do this. It's going to work. But sometimes it doesn't. And sometimes it doesn't, not because of what it is, but because of the other things that surround it. Do you have that effort? Do you have that passion? Are you doing the movement correctly? Do you feel what you were supposed to be feeling during the set? And so a lot of people are kind of just training blindfolded. They've lost this ability to feel how things are going because they are trying to outsource it to science or so to some influencer or to a book or something else. Those things supplement your time in the gym. They do not replace it. And I understand that numbers-focused mindset because I had it for many years, and I still have it. I still log and track my training and keep spreadsheets and check on it sometimes, and I just still feel that thrill of a PR, and I am still obsessed with the number side of things, but that's not the only side of things. There's a lot more to training than painting by the numbers. I think that's a decent starting point, but if you look at any great artist, they stopped that at some point, and they painted more intuitively. They painted more by feel. They got that experience of actually doing the thing, painting, and not just reading about painting from someone else, and so they improved by actually doing the thing. Crazy, I know. And I can't tell you how many times I told someone that some training variable doesn't matter, and they were disappointed. So you look at the recent study comparing full range of motion and partial range of motion, and the outcome was no statistical difference. Now that should be very freeing. Oh, cool, like we can do lengthened partials, we can do full range of motion, both are fine. I've gotten so many DMs from people who seemed almost devastated that one was not better than the other. They wanted that certainty. They wanted to know, if I do this, I will get better results. That certainty is something you will never ever have in training. Ever. Okay, so try to chase that less and chase improving the process a lot more. And having that freedom to not be locked in to sets of 8 only or this much volume only, it should be freeing, but it's not. And I think this is because it's a sign that something else is lacking. And often it's these 3 things that I have talked about. So I hope that helps. And if you want to know more about training, you can check out my books. They've been very, very well received. They will treat you right. Tons and tons of information and inspiration and everything in between to help you get the most out of your time in the gym. Thank you so much for the support. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in the next video. Peace. Nothing rhymes with hunger.
If you want a formula, you should go back to graduate school.